Come see us on tour in Dallas, Texas, Baltimore, Atlantic City, Cohoes, New York, and Providence, Rhode Island. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets, and only there.
At the height of, which it seems we're passing, at the height of what you could loosely term woke, postmodernist theory, whatever you want to call it, we were told very much you should not disagree or argue with people of marginalized identities, and their voices should be elevated, and you should let them speak. And as a black conservative, that must have been a very bitter thing to hear, because those voices were not allowed in the conversation. It was or someone like Caitlyn Jenner, anybody of those identities who was conservative, those voices they did not want to hear. How did you feel hearing that at that time?
Yeah, so it's an interesting conversation because black liberals, and I'm speaking specifically, when it comes to the black stuff, and I can't speak on the LGBTQ because I'm not. So, I mean, I don't know how that goes. But black liberals go out of their way to try to marginalize black conservatives in the sense that they say that we're not actually really black, in the sense that we don't really believe what we believe, right? As in, blackness is tied to your political identity, and the political identity that it's supposed to be tied to is progressivism or liberalism and support for the Democrat Party. And that, to me, in my opinion, is a way to essentially, again, delegitimize our voices and our viewpoints, as if we can't disagree with that, as if there are no conservative black people, when in fact most black people in the South, at least from a social perspective, lean more conservative. Okay. However, they don't connect that to politics, obviously, right? But still, there are black people who aren't necessarily on board with some of the more extreme ends of the woke agenda, especially when you talk about the LGBTQ stuff, okay, which is something that modern, the liberal media, they refuse to acknowledge that we're not on board with all that stuff. So they try to marginalize us. Okay. However, I would argue that they have been extremely unsuccessful, because, I mean, if you just look at basic stats like viewership and reach on YouTube, I think the largest black liberal show is probably Roland Martin, maybe. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know. Maybe you guys know a larger progressive.
Would it be him? Would it be Lamont?
I think it is.
Keaton would know better than I would.
Roland, I mean, I don't watch Roland Martin. I mean, Roland Martin is just, I mean, that is just straight DNC propaganda. I wouldn't know if he's bigger than like Mark Lamont Hill. He could be.
He's I mean, like there's ways of, I'm saying there's different ways of measuring. I'm just using one way, right? In the sense that, okay, you look at YouTube viewership. He's only at 11 million in 30 days. I'm at 19 million. Tatum is at like 30, and Candace Owens is at like 44. So I would argue that they can try to marginalize us, but it hasn't really been successful. And I would say that black conservatives probably had a significant impact on the minority support for Trump this time around that increased, I would say, incrementally, not necessarily, not to the degree I would like, but I mean, with the Hispanic vote, I think it was almost 50-50. With black males, I think 20% of black males, 25% of black males went for Trump. I actually knew that the election was over in Georgia when I saw the election polls. When I saw the exit polls in Georgia with the black male vote, I was like, this is over. If this holds up going into, Pennsylvania and Wisconsin and some of these other states, it was over. So I actually think that, they have tried to marginalize us. I think they've tried to keep us out of the conversation, but yet I think that we've been very successful at spreading the message. And I think that kind of showed up with Trump's success with the minorities this time around relative to most Republicans.
Come see us on tour in Dallas, Texas, Baltimore, Atlantic City, Cohoes, New York, and Providence, Rhode Island. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets, and only there.